Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new video. As you can tell by the title, I'm introducing a new race series to the channel. So if you're new around here, then you might not know, but in the past I have documented my training journey on the route to various London marathons that I've completed. I think 2017, 18 and 19, and did a bit on the lead up to my New York Marathon as well. And obviously over the last few months things have been a bit all up in the air, not sure when races are happening and what's going on. But now with the new government announcement and a kind of roadmap out, I feel like there's a bit more certainty around certain races and what may go ahead. So here we are, we're at a big announcement. Well, it's not really that big at all, but this is a new training series on the lead up to Boston Marathon, and this is the UK version, not the one in the US. So why am I doing it? When is it? All this kind of stuff. So originally the date was September. It then got moved to the 18th of April, and obviously at Christmas time it kind of felt like we were coming out of lockdown and things were starting to get better. I had put myself on a waiting list for the 18th of April date, and then a place came up. It was at the time where I again wasn't sure what was going on, but I emailed the race organisers and they said they had a refund policy, which basically meant if the race didn't go ahead or it was to get postponed or anything like that, then I could basically get a refund. And I thought that's pretty good, because at the moment lots of us have booked races and they just keep getting moved, and sometimes you're not able to get a refund on them, which, do you know what, I totally appreciate, because race organisers need our help at the moment, because you know, without races, they're not generating any income or revenue. So I totally get it. But at the same time, I didn't want to book another race and then have it move again. Obviously, since then, it has got moved. So now the date is the 31st of May. And I feel like that is going to be a good date, and I hopefully feel like it will go ahead. So that's why I've only just sort of thought I'd just start doing a training series now. If I did one beforehand, then things might get changed and moved a million times. So here we go, Boston Marathon, the 31st of May. I actually haven't worked out how long it is until that marathon. Let me double check. So we've got 13 weeks to get ready. Now filming this at the very end of February, and that means basically I've kind of had 8 weeks of base training, maybe 7 or 8 weeks of base training. Obviously I was trying to train for the marathon to start off with, but this is just basically going to be starting from fresh again today. So 13 weeks to go until Boston. So what is the goal? Now, the goal essentially is just to get another marathon in my legs, because I have not run a marathon or 26.2 miles since New York Marathon in November of 2019. So that is well over a year, and by the time it comes around, it will be well over sort of a year and a half. So I want to do the 26.2, go through the motions again, and basically get comfortable with doing the long runs, because my big target this year is to do either Berlin or London Marathon, whichever one, or both if I can do them, which would be great. So the overall goal is to get a PB at either London or Berlin, almost forgot that then, and I just want to basically get used to being on those long runs again, because I must admit last year during lockdown I just kind of stuck to 13, 14 miles on my long runs, sometimes even just 10 miles. So I now need to push myself further than that and get used to doing 16, 18s, 20s and going well past that 20-mile mark. So that is the goal, essentially, is just to get a marathon. There's no specific time target, I just want to go and do it comfortably. So it will probably maybe closer to the time, depending on how fit I'm feeling. It might be, okay, let's go for X time, you know, it might be 3:45, it could be 3:35, I don't know yet. We're just going to see how it goes. It won't be a PB attempt, because I don't feel like in 13 weeks time I'm going to be ready for a PB. However, I do feel like it will be a good stepping stone to help me get to the PB then later on in the year. So that is the goal, to do a marathon, do it comfortably, and basically just learn again how to go through the marathon process. So training, what is it going to look like? Now, previously in training blocks, I have sort of trained 5 to 6 times a week running, normally 1 interval session, 1 tempo session, a long run and a couple of easy runs. However, this year we're trying something different. I am running 4 times a week only at the moment. I am then biking twice a week on sort of like a turbo at home, hopefully getting outside a bit more when the weather gets better, and then also teaching a hell of a lot more than what I'm used to. Although I'm sort of like, I've cut back on PT because not being able to see people, I now have the Running Hub, which is an online community, and I teach online classes to our group, and so that takes a little bit more toll than what did in the past with my other teaching. So I do teach, how many classes now? 5? 4? 5? I don't know, because we've got so many different things that we do. But basically, I teach quite a lot during the week, so that obviously layers on top of all of my training. So yeah, that's what it's kind of going to look like. I'm being coached by my fiance James at the moment. He's also another coach within the Running Hub, and I know that he's going to push me and challenge me. So the experiment is to try and see if we can work off 4 runs a week and just see how it goes. I feel like it's been working quite well recently. I did 16 miles today pretty comfortably, and at the start of the year, because I'd had a couple of weeks off of training, I was struggling to do sort of like 75-90 minutes at the start. So now the fact that we have managed to tick off 16 miles today was a real sort of breakthrough, and I'm just really happy with how things are going. So obviously the base is working well, and then now we've got 13 weeks to try and improve on that and see where we can go. So that's what the training may look like. It may change over the course of the upcoming weeks, but basically it's just going to be an experiment before we then try whatever it may be with Berlin. So in terms of previous history, I have trained for, my first marathon was London 2014. Didn't know what I was doing, but I had the best time. Then trained for a race in 2015, London Marathon again, and unfortunately got injured 6 weeks before. So I had to pull out of that. Devastated, broke my heart so much that I couldn't even bear to go through it again in 2016. Got stronger, and then came back, and 2017 did London once again and got good for age. So then obviously I went back in 2018 and did London again, the hot one. Still PB'd, but wasn't a nice experience, and then obviously had wrongs to rewrite, if that makes sense, in 2019, and yeah, hit a huge PB, 3:22, so I was really happy with that. Then went and did New York in November of 2019, but basically put too much pressure on myself, so just in the weeks before stripped it back and did a 3:32 relatively comfortably. So that was good. So that's sort of like my previous history. I just tried to make sure that I combine running with sort of a variety of sessions, and also strength training is really important. We really focus on that in the Running Hub in terms of strength and core work, because you have to have a strong foundation to be able to run well. For my first marathon in 2014, I would remember feeling awful at the end of my long runs. I'd hurt for days afterwards, and it was just sometimes like a real struggle. But now I've learned, obviously being injured quite a lot at the start, I've realised that I needed to do strength and core work to make me a stronger runner, to prevent the injury, and basically then that just helps with your consistency and then helps to make you an overall better runner. So yeah, definitely a lot of that's included within my training at the moment. And yeah, that's kind of the history of where it's been, and obviously trying to go quicker than 3:22 later on this year, with the goal of being under 3:15. Not sure what yet, but that is the target for the year. So what can you expect really from this sort of training series? I appreciate this is a sit down video and I have been rambling for almost 10 minutes now. But basically this is just going to be a raw training diary of how I get on with my training. Try to go into a little bit of depth in terms of, like, rather than just being like, Monday I'm going on the bike, Tuesday I'm doing intervals, because that's what some of my videos have been in the past. Trying to go into a bit more of the depths as to why I'm doing things and the how of doing things, just so that you can get a bit more information and hopefully take some inspiration and ideas and put it into your training. What I will caveat this by saying is that obviously try not to copy my training or anyone else's training that you watch on YouTube. I'm here basically doing this just to make myself, 1, accountable, 2, to have some fun, and obviously 3, try to educate and pass on some of my knowledge and mistakes I've made, and help you guys on your training journeys too. Obviously I'm at the stage where, like I said, I've done how many marathons now? 4, 5 marathons, trained for 6, I've done an ultra, trained for another marathon in Kenya that got rained off at like mile 22. So I've got a fair bit of experience over the years, obviously nowhere near an elite or anything in that sense, but obviously have the coaching experience as well of not only coaching or taking myself through the training journey, but taking many other athletes through training journeys too, and obviously reaching their potential and their goal. Obviously now, again, just waffling, but just want to provide you guys with a bit of light-hearted fun, showcase what I'm doing, like I say, show the real raw footage of the days where I can't be bothered to go out, finding it really hard in my training, any niggles that I may pick up along the way, hopefully not. But yeah, basically just give you the real behind the scenes of what happens during a marathon training block, because sometimes on Instagram it just all comes across as like, hey, I've just done my long run, and hey, I've just done my interval sessions and smashed it. But obviously there's a lot more to it as well, with not only the training, but your recovery, looking after yourself, nutrition, your mindset, and all other bits as well. So yeah, stay tuned. A video every week, and I think it'll be released on Mondays, just so then I can recap the week and press publish on Mondays so that you can see what I've been up to the week before. So I won't be telling you what I've done this week, but basically come back next week and I can tell you all about week 1 essentially, even though I started training before, but this next week will be week 1 to on the road towards Boston Marathon. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this lovely ramble. Please hit the like button, subscribe so you know that when I'm releasing more of my training videos, and I'll see you all next week.